welcome to a new episode of Photography Behind the Scenes. Today I'm taking you with me on an early morning on the countryside where I wanted to continue shooting my roll of Portra 800. Maybe you remember a couple weeks ago I brought you with me to a sunrise shoot to shoot my first ever roll of Portra 800. This session now is the continuation of that same roll. So, if you remember that video, you will also remember that I had some issues with light leaks that day, and so, yes, today's results will also have some light leaks, but many results turned out pretty interesting and experimental looking, so that I think they are still worth showing. Good morning. I haven't really had time to actually speak to the camera yet because I got here and the sun went up instantly. So I've immediately started shooting and I've set up another shot on the tripod now, hoping that I can use the self-timer again and just run into the frame there, just to add like one human subject that I think should probably give the photo that little something that makes it a bit more interesting. So yeah, let's try that out. Out. Alright, so this is the first result. Well, yeah, it's completely messed up, but don't worry, it will improve later on. So I crossed the road to try a similar style of photograph on the field on this side. Okay, so similar thing again, this time as said with the 50, I'm at a bit of a lower angle now. Let's see what this looks like. I'm afraid the shot fired as I was doing some weird pose because I actually wasn't ready. Now the question is, do I use another shot of Portra just to fix that, or should I just move on? I've got 16 shots left on this roll of Portra. I think I'll just move on, because maybe it was alright. No, it wasn't. Just as I had expected, the shot fired in exactly the moment when I was weirdly pulling up my trousers, and so now the photograph shows me standing awkwardly wide with my fingers pulling on my jeans. If my pose were not so weird, I think this shot would have actually not even been too bad. The light leaks here are wild, but not on a level that they ruin the photograph. Then I continued to walk on this cute path beside the field and eventually found a spot where I thought it could be nice to try out another running photo. Okay, you know what, I'm thinking I should just try the photo again, but to have some variation at least, I'll try it from here. It's kind of strange to not be able to look back at these photos. I'm very used to doing that when shooting these self-portraits. But yeah, I guess that's the surprise factor of film. Here's the result, and I think this is quite okay. I mean, the bar is set pretty low at this point, but I'm happy that the overlapping photos and light leaks didn't cover the photo in a way that you can't even see the subject matter. It seems kind of interesting. I like the simplistic and quiet composition of the field and the sky, which both seem like a solid color that the photo is split in, so one half green and the other half blue, which I think adds a sense of clear structure to the composition. So I think I'm just going to continue that way. I can imagine maybe there's some composition to be had with the cows that are chilling right here. Okay, these cows might really be cute. I'm trying to get to the other side to have more of a backlight look. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe with these things in the foreground. Ah, okay. Then I've got the fence from here, maybe. This one, I really don't know. I think it'd be a decent photo, but I feel like it wouldn't be good enough to actually use a shot of Portra on it. I mean, at the same time, I've been taking some risky self-portraits, which of course I do not know if those are gonna be alright, but this one, I don't know, it's not bad, the light is nice, but overall it's a bit boring, I think. Not sure if I should get it. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it also... Oh wait, if I do it like this... Oh, okay. Okay, I found a composition that might work. So here is the result. I promised the photo would have been good. The composition worked in my opinion because we've got this field sloping downwards from left to right, which also seems to work as a sort of leading line. And this flow carried my eye to the subject, which was the cow, that is now unfortunately covered by this blue light leak. Okay, with this tree over here, this might be a very cute photo of the path. Let's see. How about this? Yeah, it could work. But I think I'll do it with a 35mm. But let's just check this first. Maybe this one is better. Okay, I think this is actually better. So I switched back to the 35mm to get a wider point of view again to photograph a composition of the path with the field on the side. Here's the result, and I think it's alright. I'm a bit uncertain whether I might have panned too far to the right though. I'm thinking now that maybe the composition would look better with a bit more focus on the path. However, it could be that I just feel that way because of the light leak on the left, which takes away some of the space. Now I had spotted something for which I needed the 50 again, so I switched once more. What I was aiming for this time is the moon, which was still so clear at this time, and I was thinking it could look interesting to frame it with some leaves of this tree in the foreground. This is the result, and it's okay. Yes, I got some overlapping photos on the top and the bottom, but at least the actual subject is not covered, so the photograph still works in my opinion. And I like how the idea turned out. The framing of the moon in the leaves works, I find. Here's a cropped version to reduce the overlapping and increase the focus on the moon. Now, before continuing, I would like to take a minute to give a shout out to the kind sponsor of this video, Tarion, the company that makes the camera bag I've been using recently. They reached out to me asking whether I'd like to try out one of their camera bags and potentially collaborate, and I told them that I of course need some time to find out whether I actually like the bag or not, and while trying it out, I was honestly kind of surprised how much I enjoyed using it. As you might know, I already had a camera bag, but that bag is huge, and I hadn't thought about the perks of having a smaller bag, but that was the main thing that made the Tarion bag so enjoyable for me. It's much smaller and hence more comfortable when shooting on days like these when I don't need a huge amount of gear. Key points that they like to emphasize is the hard material they use. The bag is hard to protect your gear, and that is also water resistant for days like these. Another feature Tarion likes to point out are the multi-purpose straps on the outside, which you can use to carry a jacket, a tent, a sleeping bag, or even a drone for the pilots among you. But for me, the main reason that I've really come to enjoy this camera bag is its size. It's a simple, high quality, yet effective camera bag, but packed in this small form factor, which I've really come to appreciate. So if you're looking for a camera bag but don't need a huge one, I can really recommend this one from Tarion. I'll link it in the description. Huge thank you to Tarion for sponsoring this video, and I'd say let's get back to our sunny morning. There's a beautiful minimalistic shot here. I'm not sure if I should actually run onto this field because of this fence, and they're really trying to signal, we do not want you to run onto this field. So I don't want to be disrespectful. Well, at this point the fence ended, so I thought maybe here it's okay, and I found a spot where I thought I could set up a nice shot of me from a slightly lower angle. I did not like that. Why am I able to turn this? Oh no, what's going on? I'll just continue for now and hope for the best. Okay, so it's time for the test of truth. Let's see if this is still alright. If this thing turns now, I'm happy. It kind of spinned way too much, but I think it's okay. It was not really okay. This stripe on the left is all I got of the photo, but in a way I was lucky, I suppose, because I at least got my subject, so that means I can crop the image to something that is at least semi-decent. In this case, I think the errors don't even look that bad. They add an extra stylistic element to the shot here of me looking into the distance. Well, this here is really cute. So I was really liking how this path led into the distance to that tree, and therefore I was looking for a shot. Whew. I found one, however, well, the errors here are definitely too much. Then, as I walked along this path, I found another subject to picture in the distance. I was trying to compose a house in the middle of the field with the nice landscape around it. Here's the result, and sadly the overlapping here is also not so pleasant. I got the subject though, however more than half of the photo is flawed by an error which does ruin most of it for me. I made a vertical crop out of it, which does slightly improve the ratio between overlapped or leaked and the actual photograph, however it certainly doesn't save the photo, I find. Then I was walking further down this path for a good while and then found a nice spot on the side where there was a bench in the midst of some bushes, and from here I also got a nice view. Alright, so earlier when we saw this view down here, I said there's no composition to be had. However, now there's a lot of foreground elements. We've got some bushes with some berries, or flowers? No, it's berries. And we've got this beautiful tree. That one there, that tree is quite useful for the composition. And so I think I might actually be able to frame that village with the tree and then the trees over here and some bushes in the foreground, and actually get quite a dynamic, deep composition that's tried out. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. This is the result, and would you look at this? We even get to see a little bit of the subject. The overlapping is present here again, but it's quite bearable, I find. I like the shot of this view I was eventually able to find. Sadly, however, the framing, which would have been pretty cool, I think, doesn't come across so well because of the overlap on the right. Then I was quite fond of all the different bushes around me. Some even had cute berries and other details like that, and so I was looking around for compositions. Here I was getting a shot from this lower angle to have the sky in the background. This is it, and I really like this one. The overlapping happened unfortunately, but it actually suits the photograph. I enjoy the view on these leaves with the blue sky behind, and the colours came out splendidly, I find. Then I spotted another angle from which I could try to get a shot of the moon with some leaves in the foreground. Here's the result, and I think it's alright. I like the idea and how the composition works. The light leaks and the overlapping are quite heavy, but don't ruin it, I find. Thankfully, the moon is still visible, and I think the reason I like this one are the colours. The greens and the oranges, which actually just came from the light leak, are a nice combination with the blue of the sky. Then I found another low angle from which I could get a similar shot, but this time of some berries. This is the outcome, and the errors are taking over again, but I think it's still somewhat okay, seeing as I can see the subject and the photo has now become an abstract mess of lights and shapes, yet with enough structure to see a composition. Next, I was looking at these leafy bushes which I liked and was looking for a way to photograph them. This is what I got, and here too, sadly, I think the errors are going a bit too far. It's just a bit too distracting at this point because the original intention of the photograph is barely visible. The colours are still pretty cool though. Alright, so I came off the path that I was actually walking and came into this forest area full of bushes and various types of plants, and I've been having a lot of fun photographing little details here, such as the berries, or the moon through some plants, or those leafy green plants down there that I just photographed. And I've reached this point of satisfaction. Do you know that? When you're out shooting and you reach a point where you think, actually I'm quite happy with what I've gotten so far. And I mean, with film, of course, you don't know how these are going to be. So for me, at the moment, it's just the anticipation of what these photos might look like when I get them back. I've reached this point of satisfaction, and I think it's a good moment to head back now. So that's it for this week's episode. It was a semi-successful one, I guess. Despite the many errors that occurred, I did get a couple shots which I think are pretty nice, and I'm grateful for those. What do you think? Were there any cool photos in your opinion? I'm curious to read your thoughts, so feel free to leave them in the comments. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If so, I'd appreciate a like, consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and I'll see you again next week in the next video. Until then, goodbye.